Correspondent Melissa Dathrath and Central Bank Governor Joala Rambaram reporting on the state of the Trinidad Tobago economy, which is a great segue for our next segment, which is budgeting for Christmas 2012. Our friends from the Unit Trust Corporation. We have in studio with us Lisa Marie Laveau Best, who is marketing manager with UTC, and also our friend Wendy Bishop. Wendy, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Ladies, thank you for joining us this morning. We're talking Christmas, as the UTC is always quite proactive.
Yes.
We know that Trinidadians love, well, Diwali and then Christmas anyway, because they're both significant observances in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk about what we should be looking at in terms of budgeting. We heard a report from the Central Bank Governor. We need to be taking these things into consideration when we're doing our budget. Let's start with Lisa Marie.
Well, firstly, for Christmas season, you know that there will be a lot of spending, a lot of panic buying, because everybody's trying to get their Christmas gifts very late as a rush. What we need to think about is what are some of the things that stress us out financially for the Christmas season. Meeting social commitments, competing with the Joneses, understand what those financial stresses are and eliminate those from your budgeting and planning for Christmas.
Is it that easy? It's just I'm going to eliminate them just like that?
Not necessarily, but what is important is you have to understand what those emotions are and take the emotions out of budgeting. Plan, make a list, and stick to that list and budget accordingly, and don't step outside of what you've set aside for Christmas season.
Wendy, does it come down to just needs versus wants?
Again, yes, because we always talk about our 5 basic needs and our wants. But what we want to say about Christmas and all the other festive holidays is that we must plan and remain disciplined. Because with Christmas and with Diwali, we know that they bring good tidings and cheer and a lot of debt. And we are here to ensure that persons actually manage that debt, but through budgeting. And what we are saying is also is that you must consider making a list of all the things that you plan to do. You plan to have home improvement, you plan to buy gifts, you plan probably to travel. Make a list. And then what you also do is that you allocate money, what we call holiday money, Christmas money, Diwali money. And you say, okay, my income amount of money I'm going to allocate is $100. I'm going to spend $100. But you don't have to spend all you know, but you are allocating that amount. So you must plan, you must be disciplined. And you can do that through a budget.
What is the data showing us in terms of research? We know the Unit Trust piloted significant research in recent times. Are people taking these things into consideration more? Are we budgeting more? Are we still celebrating our festivals wildly without thought for the future?
Well, our surveys that we did earlier this year in July showed that only 6% of us actually save for Christmas.
6% of us. So we're going against the grain here.
We're going against the grain here.
What does that tell us about our society generally then, Lisa?
It really tells us that people are not focusing on planning for the long term, budgeting for events and seasons as we ask them to do. We ask people to essentially look forward and plan, set goals, set time horizons. Ensure that you have put aside money for all of the long term plans that you may have, but also cater for things such as Christmas, which can definitely make us dig deep into our pockets and spend unnecessary money on unnecessary items. So what we are trying to do is encourage people to look at those different goals that they may have throughout the season, understand those Christmas and Diwali and events such as these that can definitely impact us financially, and figure out how we can manage these experiences and events without feeling the financial burden as we go forward.
When we're doing our strat plan for the our annual budgets, shouldn't this be a part of this?
Of course.
As opposed to trying to budget in November for December, to be more effective where budgeting is concerned?
Yes, indeed, because what we would like to advise in terms of tips, you should start saving for these holidays probably in January. Make it part of your New Year resolution, because they say Christmas happens upon us. Christmas comes the same time every year. It's the 25th of December. We know that. So you need to start planning and save towards what you're planning to do. And also, you can look at discounts. Once you start saving, you say, okay, I know I'm going to buy gifts for X, Y, Z. You have to be proactive, as you mentioned earlier, Paul, that you know you're going to buy gifts for X number of persons. You should see a sale. You take an opportunity to see that person like something and take it then, instead of waiting until November, December, when everything seems to be a little higher because of the extravagance that we undertake. And we need to actually start embracing those things early in the year than waiting until the last minute.
How much, if we don't do this, because sometimes theatrics work.
Yes.
Will it push us back in our budget? Because then Christmas rolls in, Diwali rolls into Christmas, and Christmas rolls into Carnival. And they're all Diwali, not so much high intensity spending, but certainly Christmas and Carnival. How much does this push us back from our goals, our objectives?
It can definitely put a dent in terms of where you want to reach, in terms of achieving your objectives. What we encourage, going off of what Wendy would have just discussed, is planning early, as she said. Starting in January, if say you have $1,000 that you intend to spend for Christmas or Diwali, let's say Christmas, you take the first 10 months, January to October, and you put aside $100 each month planning for Christmas season, so that you don't have in December where you are now trying to find this money and you feel as though I have to go and dip into my emergency fund, I have to go and dip into my long-term savings to go and buy that gift or that toy for someone. Also, we have to look at considering whether or not this year maybe I should have a low-key Christmas so I can have a better Christmas next year. Think about things that you can do in terms of providing gifts that are not necessarily extravagant. I am a new mother.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So you would have me, a person like myself, wanting to buy 10, 15 gifts for my son for Christmas.
Because you're a new mom.
Because I'm a new mom. Of course, I have to tighten the reins and understand that toys become obsolete very quickly. So these are things that we have to look at. What we can look at having as I said, a low-key Christmas, and looking forward to better Christmases and a better year for 2013.
How can we use this as families to teach our young ones about budgeting and managing expenses? Should they be brought into the fray? Because some people say, well, you know, keep the mystery of Santa Claus and Santa Claus giving you what you want. But some people also say, well, you know what? It's a great opportunity to sit as a family and say, well, listen, we want to go on vacation next year, Easter. We have Carnival where you want to play Mass. We have to have a low-key Christmas this year. You can't get all the presents you're accustomed to.
Yes.
And we're going to have a pretty quiet Christmas. We're still going to celebrate Christmas and Diwali, but in a little reduced manner, so you can get these objectives down the road. Should this be done as a family?
I think it should be done, and we encourage bringing children on a part of the whole budgeting and planning and so financial awareness, because if you start off at a younger age, we get better investors, better financially aware citizens of trying to be. And we need persons who are financially aware and who can have financial well-being growing up. And I agree with that, because children understand. If you say we are saving towards something, they will help you and say, you know, mommy, we cannot do this because of we need to go to, say, Ohio. So they get involved, and I always like the fact that when persons are going to do any financial transactions, say coming to Unit Trust Corporation or going to another institution, take your children along. Let them be a part of the process so they can appreciate seeing money actually going in and not a credit card coming out.
Let's presume that we've dealt comprehensively with long-term planning and being proactive.
Yes.
Let's talk about people who are now seeing this on November 5th and saying, well, Christmas is there and I didn't plan. What are the strategies that they should employ? Is it that it's too late? Is it that, well, you have to scale down and suffer? Or are there strategies you can employ even at this stage?
It is never too late. we believe that you could always readjust your expenses and become more creative. You don't have to go to every department store and actually purchase something. Stay at home and create stuff. I know a friend of mine who would have actually brought boxes of, what we call that, brownies, because she lost her job. And so what she did is that she used things in and around her home to actually make gifts. And Christmas is really about relationships with your family and experiences. It's not really about spending. We make it more about spending. But we at the Unit Trust Corporation want to think about it more in terms of investing. So we say, okay, you can't afford to that, that's okay. Be creative, but we want to embark upon your having money to invest come January 1st.
So it's important to look long term.
Look long term,
I want to go
yes.
back to the issue Lisa Marie and yourself raised, Wendy, about spending stresses.
Yes.
And we're being bombarded by the advertisements at this time.
Absolutely.
Nothing down, pay next year.
Yes.
5% off, 25% off, this and that, you know. Make your Christmas big and grand. How can people resist these? And I'm not trying to shut down commerce in any way, so don't let the businesses call me and tell me I'm getting in there because we like the advertisements. At CMG, let the advertisements come. Yes. But certainly we have to be moderate in how we respond to the advertisements and to all that's coming at us during this time.
Well, I think what happens at Christmas is people want to do so much. They as one person said, you know, they have to smell the paint. They have to have their house put away, the curtains up, these kinds of things. And you must know what you can achieve for the Christmas season and what you can put off for the rest of the year. So really it is being realistic. Your budget this year will not necessarily be your budget for Christmas next year. So you must understand what some of these goals are in terms of for Christmas and try to work throughout the year to achieve them, as I had indicated, with planning upfront from January to October. But if it is that you're in the Christmas season and you're seeing all of these different ads bombarding you, understand what you can afford, take advantage of the high purchases, etc. once you feel as though you can meet the commitment of the 3 months cash value. If you cannot do that, then please do not take take up that option. But essentially, those are some of the pieces of advice that we would like to give people. Be very, very critical in terms of what you see as being a sale item, discount item, clearance item, and also look forward as opposed to the now.
I want us to re-emphasize the dangers. There's a tendency of some people in the country to say, you know what, I'll enjoy my Christmas and I'll face whatever it is next year.
Yes.
And then we end up in the problems, and then Carnival come and we add to that, and debt starts to build up, and we find ourselves in a downward spiral and feel helpless. How important is not even taking that first step, or even if you have, starting to rein in your spending, to put systems in place to deal with reducing your debt?
Yes.
Because very often we say, you know what, I go enjoy Christmas now
and treat it later.
Deal with it down the road.
Yes, it all comes back to 2 words: discipline and planning. You have to be disciplined, and you have to remain on task, remain focused. If you know that you're going to be just whipping on the credit card that you cannot settle at the end of the month, then you should try to avoid doing that. And you have to know thyself. To thyself be true. So you have to know what you can.
Sometimes to thyself we're not true.
Yeah, yes, and that is it. But you have to know that come January, February, that you'll be worse off. And you have to be conscious of that fact. So we are saying that if it is that you realize that you cannot help yourself, come and speak with us. We will give you financial advice. We have our financial advisory and wealth management team now. Come and find out exactly how we can help you plan from Christmas to beyond. So, because I think you need some more professional help in that way if you cannot manage your income and expenses.
One of the opportunities the end of the year brings is to plan for the new year.
Yes.
Let's talk about that and what the Unit Trust has in terms of instruments and products that can, this is November, we can start saying, you know, I have been not as disciplined as I should have been in this last year, but I want to get out of this rut.
Yes.
And so I want to look forward to next year starting on building a different kind of financial portfolio. Let's start about what we can look at, and also in terms of possible presents, because we sometimes think of things for presents when we can do instruments and savings plans and stuff like that will help us down the road.
I'm glad you mentioned the presents, because we have at the Unit Trust Corporation the gift of Eunice, which is attached to all of our funds, where you can have, for example, we were talking about children and getting children into the idea of saving and investing from an early stage and understanding Christmas as part of that. And you can give a gift of units for a student investment protection plan or the children's investment starter plan, which is under the Growth and Income Fund. For the new year, what we can do is look at short-term, medium, and long-term goals. For the short-term goals, we have the TT Dollar Income Fund and the US Dollar Income Fund, which are funds that have easy access based on the Visa debit card, as well as international access through the debit card and through all our ATMs and the point of sale. For the growth, for the persons who are looking for long-term investments, we have the Growth and Income Fund, which is great. As at yesterday, I think it was, the price is $15.40, and there's a 3-year price guarantee, which means that once you hold your investment for the next 3 years, you will never get back less than what the price was for which you bought it.
And in our last 90 minutes or 60 seconds, the importance of saving is great, but investment is one step further.
Yes.
Isn't it, Wendy? Yes.
Saving for short term and investing long term. You need your savings. So for short term, like emergency funds and things like this, easy access, but your long term is to realize your long term goals. So children education, buying a home, so you need long term, but you need your portfolio should so be constructed that it might have an element of short term and long term funds.
Diversification. Ladies, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate them. Of course, more information can be had at ttutc.com.
And you can call us at 625-8648.
625 units.
unit. That's it.
We've been talking to Lisa Marie Leveau Best and also Wendy Bishop, both marketing managers at UTC. Once again, ttutc.com and 625-8648 units. All right, we'll take a break for the news with Stacey and Providence and come back with more. This is First Up on CTV.